Hey, Ariana here from Scale and Simplify. This video is all about setting up newsletters or broadcast emails in Kartra. Before I jump into the how-to, just real quick, I want to talk about the distinction between email sequences and email broadcasts or one-time emails in Kartra. So sequences are going to be something that you're going to use when you need an automated series or sequence of emails to go out, triggered by some action by your lead. So somebody opts into a form or makes a purchase or does something that you can flag in the system. Then you have a series of emails that follow that at some sort of timed intervals. So that's where you're going to use email sequences, and we've got other videos on that. This is for one-time emails, and this is going to be something you use for something like newsletters or reminders about calls, for example, make it are perfect for this type of email. So let's move my head out of the way. And right now, if you look on the left-hand side, I am under marketing and in emails, the first section here. So what we're going to do is in the top right-hand corner, you're going to click on the little plus email/SMS. Right? So on the left-hand side, you're going to give your email a name. This is an internal name just for your own reference. It is helpful if you have some sort of naming convention to keep things organized, and also sometimes you might be creating an automation that says something like the lead has or has not opened a particular email, and you're going to see a drop down of all of your email names. So it's really helpful to create a name that means something to you that you can find later on in the search or in a drop down menu like that. So I sometimes will do like date newsletter, something like that. Okay, we're selecting email. And now before we hit create, on the right hand side, we just want to have a look at some of these templates, and you're going to decide if you're going to work off of a template or just plain text. So Kartra has lots of templates. If you are not doing this sort of full designed newsletter style, totally okay to go with plain text. I will also show you in a bit how to save your previous emails. So then you'll be able to go to My Templates and use one of your existing ones. I like to use this to have a consistent footer in my emails. So once I've built my first one, then I'll save it as a template and I'll use that in future as well. So let's just select a random one, and then I'm going to hit create on the left-hand side here. Okay, so right now it's showing me one of my old emails that I saved as a template. If you're working from scratch the first time, it will be blank. Okay, so up here, let's just kind of get the lay of the land here and see what all of these different sections are. So up here, if you change your mind about what to name the email, you can just click on here and then check mark. Category underneath that, you can click on that and select what category you would like it to be under. If you don't have any categories, you can go to manage my categories and create a new one. Done. And then it brings us back to selecting what we would like. I like to create categories for like a regular newsletter versus promotions or then any other sort of subcategories. Again, this just helps you to find the emails later on if you need to, and it also helps when you're looking at analytics, you can kind of sort by the categories. Okay, now across the top, we've got 4 sections. First is the message. I'll come back to that in a second. Next is the from and to. So you want to make sure, especially if you're setting this up for the first time, that you're coming in here and checking what it's going to say as the from email and the reply to email. So you can hit change on that and put a different email address here or change your name if you need to. This will default to whatever the email you used when you opened your Kartra account, so your user email. So a lot of times people want to send from a different email than that. So just make sure that you change it if that's the case. And then you're going to be probably just cloning those emails afterwards, and you won't have to keep doing this, but really important in the first time. This is just giving me a warning that I have not, for this particular email address, because it's not one that I use, have not configured it and verified it. That there's a different video about that, but that's something that as part of your essential Kartra setup, you will do ahead of time. Okay, and then this is where you're going to select who the emails are going to. So you can say subscribed to list, and then you're going to select one of your lists. Okay, this is an example I used, so I don't have anybody in there. It will make it does need to have whatever you select as the segment. Obviously needs to have at least one person, otherwise you'll get an error. And I'm just going to delete this only me. Okay, now let's say that you wanted a list of people from a particular list, but you wanted to exclude buyers of a particular product. Then you would say, subscribe to this list and does not have tag. And then you're going to find whichever tag you would like. I'm just going to go ahead and select a random one. Okay. And so that's it. You're going to set up who your recipients are. There's no need to hit a save button or anything on this one. It's just going to save as you're selecting things. All right, automations, we won't get into this here, and then analytics is going to show you the stats about the email later on if you come back. All right, so message, this is where we're going to create the actual email. So in this first step, you're going to hit edit message, and it's going to open up. So it will default to this weird subject line that says welcome to Kartra broadcast. So make sure that you go in and you change the subject line. You can add in preview text as well if you'd like. This is just that first line that shows up in people's email clients as a preview of the email. If you don't put anything here, it will just kind of automatically pull from the first sentence or so from your actual email body. So if you want to control what people see, you have that little bit of added text there. Over here are your variables. So this is where you can click to drop down and copy the variables or the dynamic fields for somebody's name, email address, or last name if you wanted to add those in. Okay, so I'm actually going to hit copy here on the first name, and then I'm going to come down here into the email, and let me just delete all of this. So we're going to say first name, paste, and then you're going to have your email go there. Okay, now again, I'm working off of a template, and so I've got a bunch of things here. We can delete them, and I can show you what else you could add in. So along the left-hand side, you have all of your options for what type of content you can drag out into the email. So most often you're going to start with text. When you click on that, a panel opens up with different formats of text. So we're just going to drag out this simple text box. Okay, and that's where you're going to just go in and use it like any other text editor. Images, most likely you'll use these at some point as well. If it's within the body of an email, I like to use this format, the second one, rather than the full width image. This will allow you to control the size of it, so oftentimes this is a little bit too giant depending on what type of photo you're adding in here. So this allows you to click edit and then reduce the width. You can select the alignment and then you would hit select image to upload something from within your account or upload something new. Okay, so there's that. You can also drag things around. So once you have more than one section, you're able to drag it. So I'm going to put this up to the top. And then I'm going to have the photo. I'm going to delete that stuff. If you find that this is too much white space for you before and after the photo, you're also able to adjust the padding. So that happens not at the orange level. The orange is like the settings for the actual photo. The blue, green, whatever color we're going to call this level is like the box that contains it. So if you hit edit on that, you can change the padding. So I'm going to put 0 and you can see how that changes. Okay, and then you can just click off of it and it will save that. Buttons, also something that you might use. So let's drag a button down here. We're going to hit edit on the button. You can change the background color, the text color, and obviously you can put in the URL. Oops. Change the text and so on. You are also able to upload a file directly. So if you want to share a PDF with your subscribers, that's one way that you could do it, through the button. Okay, and then you can explore the other ones and see what else, depending on what style your newsletters have. Okay, a couple of last things. So at the top here, there's a background color palette and there's a canvas color palette. So you can see here there's like these gray bars on the side of my email. That is how it will show up, how it'll show up for people when they open the email. So if you want the whole thing to be completely white, you can change this canvas color, or if you want it to be another color. But this preview is pretty accurate as far as how it's going to look for people. Up at the top right-hand side, you can click to send a test email, so you can actually preview it, and in here you can put any email address that you'd like to receive that test email. And then under actions, a couple of things. One, you could click to save the template, and so this will save it and you can reuse it in the future. And you can either clone a previous one or you can use a template. And when you are done with everything, click to save and exit. Be careful with that one because right underneath it, it's the option to exit without saving, which I've definitely done by accident. So make sure you're careful at that stage. Okay, and so now our email is ready. We've tested it and all of that. We want to click, and it's saved as draft automatically. So now we want to click on send/schedule. You can keep it just saved as draft. You can click to send it immediately, or you can schedule it for later. So here you're going to click, select your date, and then we're going to select the time. And you can just click off of that, and then it'll kind of repeat that for you here. This is going to be at the time that whatever in the time zone that your account is set to, and that's in your account settings. That's what it'll show it as. If you have somebody else working on this and like they're in a different time zone, it still always shows it as the time that's in the actual in your account settings. Okay, and then that is it. Now, if we go back to emails and SMS, we're going to see that. We see that it's scheduled. We see what category it's in. This one says examples, and then it tells you the date and time that it's scheduled for. If you want to go back and edit it, you would click on the blue text. If you want to just have a sneak peek preview of what the email is, you can click on the envelope icon, and it shows you, you're able to see the subject, to and from, in the actual email. Okay, and then here with these three dots, you can delete it if you need to. You can clone it to work off of it for a future email. You can get taken to the automations part of editing, or you can click on the message to be taken to the message part of editing. I don't do it this way because you can just click on it and it takes you here anyway. So I don't use those shortcuts. Just clicking on the blue text is fine as well. And that's it. Once the email gets sent out, it will end up in the analytics section, and you can go in there to view some of the stats. They also show up right here as well. Or some of them do anyway, for a quick view of your open rates, how many people it was sent to, and click-through rate. And that is it.